Hey Thomas, are you ready? We're going to do our book report. Hi. Hi, my name is Miss Truax, and I read Ruined by Paula Morris. I'm a big fan of ghost stories and thrillers, and so was very excited to read this book. Ruined takes place in New Orleans 1 year after Hurricane Katrina. Rebecca Brown, a 16-year-old from New York City, moves to New Orleans rather unexpectedly to stay with friends while her father travels to China for 6 months for his work. Rebecca finds New Orleans to be different from New York City in just about every way, from the year-round heat and humidity to her Aunt Claudia's job as a psychic. New Orleans is definitely a world apart. On the drive home from the Louis Armstrong Airport, Rebecca gets her first look at the city that will become her home for the next 6 months. Aunt Claudia lives on Prytania Street in the Garden District of New Orleans, a neighborhood famous for its lovely old mansions. Aunt Claudia's house, however, is small and modest by comparison. Once inside, Rebecca finds that her aunt has filled the small rooms with a variety of objects, from Buddhist statues to voodoo relics. Aunt Claudia warns Rebecca not to become friends with the teenagers who live nearby and to stay out of the cemetery across the street. Aunt Claudia leaves for work each day and heads to the French Quarter, a famous section in New Orleans where she tells fortunes of the tourists. During the night, Rebecca is awakened by voices and sees a group of teenagers from the neighborhood sneaking into the cemetery. Curiosity overwhelms her, and she sneaks in after them. Lafayette Cemetery is one of the famous landmarks of New Orleans due to the unusual style of the graves. Because New Orleans sits so low and is surrounded by water, its graveyards are built in the European style, with the graves above the ground. Tourists gather every day for tours of the more famous graves. By night, however, the graveyard is a mysterious and spooky place. While in the graveyard, Rebecca meets a young black woman named Lisette, who looks to be the same age, but turns out to be a ghost that has haunted the cemetery for over 150 years. It is Lisette's story that fascinates Rebecca and leads her to uncover information about the residents of Prytania Street that threatens Rebecca's life. I can't say any more without ruining the story. This book was a little spooky and was a definite page-turner. It was also a fantastic look into the unique place that is New Orleans. Ruined by Paula Morris. A perfect read for those of you who like a good ghost story. Say bye, Thomas.